Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX has always been one of my favourite cards, and I tell you what, with all of the dark stuff floating around on standard ladder at the moment because of Mew VMAX, maybe Rapid Strike Urshifu could be worth a play. I think it is definitely worth it, and to be honest, it can beat Mew as well. We'll see if I can show that off in some games, but first, let's talk about the card. If you don't know what it does, it is a 330 HP fighting type VMAX Pokemon, has two really good attacks. The first one, Gale Thrust for a single fighting energy, does 30 damage, plus if this Pokemon moved from the bench to the active during your turn, that gets an extra 120 damage. 150 damage for a single energy is really good. Definitely worth putting into your deck if you get an opportunity to do so. The other attack, which is also really strong, is G-Max Rapid Flow for two fighting and a colorless, sorry. You deal 120 damage to two of your opponent's Pokemon of your choice. 120 damage doesn't seem like that much, but when you combine it with cards like Passimian that has the throwing coach ability and also a copy of Telescopic Sight, I had to find it on my screen for a second there, we can get an extra 30 from Telescopic Sight and an extra 30 from Passimian onto benched V Pokemon, which means that we are dealing 180 damage to two benched Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. That is incredibly powerful. We have to discard the energy, but you know what? It is totally worth it. And also, that 3 energy cost is not hard to hit, considering we have copies of our Rapid Strike energy as well. This gives us copies of, it gives us 2 fighting or water, or both if you require them. You don't really need to, but 2 fighting energy with a single card. It is super strong. Let's talk about what makes this deck just that little bit better. There's so many other cards in here that make it really good. I like this Medicham V with Yoga Loop is a very interesting Rapid Strike card that can give Rapid Strike Urshifu a little bit of a boost to win some games. Essentially what it does is it places 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, on one of them. That's not a huge amount of damage, but if you happen to take a knockout with this attack, then you have another turn immediately after this one. Your opponent doesn't get to draw a card, they don't get to attack, they don't get to do anything. We just get another turn. So if we can set up a knockout with Yoga Loop, we can potentially take 4 or 5 prizes before our opponent has an opportunity to respond. Very nice attack there. The hard part is getting our opponent's Pokemon in a position to be knocked out with Yoga Loop, but luckily we have 3 copies of Quick Shooting Inteleon in this deck, which means that we can place 2 damage counters on our opponent's Pokemon for every Inteleon that we use that turn. That can add up very quickly and can potentially take knockouts whilst we are getting ready to attack into another Pokemon. Very nice indeed. The rest of the list is relatively self-explanatory. If you want to check it out, it is down in the description. Just copy-paste that one into PTCGO and you too can take a look at this list, whether you have the cards or not. Let's jump out onto the ladder now and see if I can't get a couple of games with Rapid Strike VMAX. Hopefully I can find a Mew to beat, because I think we can do it. Let's get started here. I'm going to use this level ball to get us going here. In the early parts of the game when we're playing Rapid Strike Urshifu, we want to get down as many Sobbles as possible, and I tell you what, we're going to be able to get down plenty of them. We've got a Quick Ball here as well, where we can grab an Urshifu, we can Quick Ball again, getting rid of this Echoing Horn, and grab ourselves actually, we might grab the Crobat to try and draw some more. We may as well, whilst we've got the opportunity to. It seems perfectly reasonable. I also really want an attachment if we can get one. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen at the moment, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. I'm gonna Quick Ball here, get rid of the Quick Ball and grab Passimian. Put that down on the bench. That could be useful later on, and we'll end the turn. We've had a very nice setup there. Even though we didn't get an attachment, it is not the end of the world. We are still capable of attacking, because remember, Rapid Strike Urshifu only attacks for 1 fighting energy. So all we need to do is find 1 more in our next hand, and we should theoretically be able to start attacking. It looks like our opponent is playing an Ice Rider V deck, which is a very powerful option at the moment, and it seems to be very popular in Japan in the Brilliant Stars format as well, so definitely a deck to consider going forward. It looks like they too have had a relatively slow start though, so maybe we can capitalize here. I'm going to evolve, and then I'm going to throw down this research. I'm going to draw 7 cards, and hopefully There we have it. Hopefully we get into an energy and a way to retreat, which we've managed to do. So we'll throw down the Drizzile into the active. We'll use the Shady Dealings ability to put one trainer card from our deck into our hand. And I'm actually going to use the Scoop Up net here. I'm going to scoop that Drizzile up, move the Urshifu into the active. We can play the Sobble down again, and then use the Drizzile a second time to get another trainer card, which I am a big fan of. I'm going to grab... I think we're going to grab Telescopic Sight. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Maybe a research. Maybe actually Tower of Waters would be good. We can use that later on to get rid of Path to the Peak if we don't want to, or to give our Rapid Strike Pokemon free retreat, which ultimately means that we will be able to get another attack off next turn if we draw into the cards that we need. I mean, I think if we wanted to use a switch, we could retreat and then switch, and we would be fine to attack anyway. But yeah, I think we're in a fine spot, and we've managed to get the damage onto our opponent's Ice Rider as well, which is very good. It means now if they do choose to evolve it, we will be one or so, I think one and a bit attacks away from knocking it out, which would be really nice. Maybe a quick shooting Inteleon could finish the job. We could get the knockout that way. So we will see what becomes of our turn here. At the moment, our opponent doesn't seem to be doing too much, but they do have access to a lot of cards thanks to Inteleon. That Drizzile engine can search out pretty much everything, and it looks like they are actually going to go into their Melanie right here. Melanie accelerating an energy out of the discard pile to their active, and then drawing 3 cards. And you can see that those extra cards can help this Ice Rider deck really plow through its deck and potentially find all the things it needs to get a big turn off. Now we're going to see Fan of Waves, removing the energy off of my Rapid Strike Urshifu, which is disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm not too worried about the fact that we don't have energy just yet, because we will just draw into another one. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're just going to draw another one. Okay, let's start off here. We'll level ball for Drizzile. We do obviously want that in play. Now, we can guarantee that we get an attack off this turn by grabbing Switch, which I don't mind. But to be honest, I really like the idea of Evo Incense here. We can grab ourselves another copy of Urshifu and throw that down onto the bench. This not only guarantees the attack, but it also gives us the opportunity to attack with a fresh Urshifu, which I am a big fan of. We'll put the Air Balloon on the active and then play Marnie, reducing our opponent's hand size to 4 and giving us 5 more cards to work with. And we've actually drawn into a couple of really interesting cards here. So Evo Incense I like. We can throw that down and use an Inteleon. Now we've got 2 of our Inteleons unavailable to us. So we can't use a couple. One of them obviously prized. We've discarded one already. But what we can do here is we can actually quick shooting into the active to put that on 170, and then the Gale Thrust from our Urshifu will take a knockout. Means we go up 3 prizes, and our opponent does not have an attacker next turn, which is really good. And even if they do manage to find an attack, they cannot knock out our active Urshifu. It is too strong. It is way too strong. So, looking pretty solid. If they do evolve their Ice Rider, then I don't think we can take a knockout to win the game next turn. So we'll be waiting on our opponent for that. But it's definitely a good spot for us to be in, and we haven't even used G-Max Rapid Flow, which is arguably the best attack in this deck. So I'm feeling really good. We're in a great position. All we need to do is make sure that we are persisting. We're just continuing on doing what we're doing, and hopefully when push comes to shove, we can get the victory. Looks like an Inteleon coming down from our opponent here. What are they going to be grabbing with that Shady Dealings, I wonder? Obviously 2 trainer cards with the Inteleon, only 1 with the Drizzile, but 1's enough. 1 is more than enough. Definitely very useful. Also, just as an FYI, whilst we are waiting for our opponent to play out the rest of their turn here, very excited to hear about the Pokemon TCG live beta in Canada on the 22nd. Hopefully everyone is excited for that. Now, I hope that means that we're getting live sooner rather than later. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully we get it with the release of Brilliant Stars, but I don't think that that's going to happen. What we've got now is we've got an interesting situation. I think our best choice is just to retreat into our Urshifu. We can quick shooting into the active, and I think that this is pretty much all that is required. If we just Gale Thrust here, that will put this Calyrex on 170 HP, and then we will just win because they've conceded. So a big win for us there. I like it. A very good deck. Now, hopefully we pull up a Mew here. I'm not liking the look of it because obviously they are playing with fighting card sleeves and a fighting and water deck box. So I'm not necessarily certain that we're going to be seeing Mew, but I am relatively comfortable that Mew can win. Sorry, not Mew can win. Of course Mew can win. I'm relatively comfortable that Urshifu can win against Mew. And I'd really like to show it off. Although, obviously, there are some significant weaknesses. Does not look like we're getting Mew here, which is unfortunate. But you know what? We do have 2 Rapid Strike Urshifus for next turn. Our hand's completely dead, but we can at least attack next turn. And it looks like we're up against the Mirror, which is not too bad. It's obviously good going first here. We'll be able to get our attack off before our opponent. And yeah, hopefully we can really put the pain on Min's 1016 here. That would be fantastic. They're going to use Keep Calling, and it looks like our opponent is utilizing the water-based variant of this particular deck, obviously using Melanie instead of Raihan to accelerate energy. I can completely respect that. We are going to remove a couple of Pokemon from play here, though. I think we're going to use G-Max Rapid Flow. The question is, what do we knock out? I think that it's probably not a bad idea to just get rid of the Sobbles here. Now, Sobbles provide our opponent with a ton of flexibility. If we get rid of both of them, then we obviously take 2 prizes ourselves, but we also slow our opponent down a little bit, which could be very, very nice. Now, we don't have a huge amount going on in our hand next turn. At the moment, we're going to level ball for a Sobble and hope that our opponent doesn't knock it out. And if that's all we're doing, then that's a bit of a concern. At the moment, we don't even have an attack next turn. We can Gale Thrust potentially for 30 damage, but I don't think that that is quite enough to put ourselves in a winning position here. So if this Urshifu deck can come back from this, I will be very, very surprised. But yeah, no, what was I saying before? I was talking about PTCG Live. Hopefully it comes out for the release of Brilliant Stars. Now, I'm not expecting it to, because the beta has only just happened, but I would really love to jump into PTCG Live really, really soon. As you're watching this, by the way, I am away on a school camp, so I will not be able to return your comments if you do comment to me, but please, let me know, are you excited for Pokemon TCG Live? Now, we've managed to get ourselves a Sobble off of the top deck, which means that we now have 2. Count them, 2 Sobbles on the bench. Gale Thrust is all we can do for 30 damage, but that's okay. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get out of this. We're gonna get out of this one. I'm almost certain of it. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Like, 1 Crobat from our opponent gives us a chance to win, right? If there's 1 Crobat that comes down from our opponent, we can win this game. Hey, was that Tower of Waters down last turn? Could I have just retreated into... Oh my god, I think I could have just retreated into my... Oh, okay, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We're going to Drizzile, and this Drizzile will search a trainer card. I'm thinking a supporter's probably not too bad. Professor's Research seems pretty good to me. Let's retreat into Drizzile and then scoop that bad boy up. Again, we probably could have / should have retreated last turn, but whatever, it happens. Okay, let's find ourselves another trainer here. What do we need? Our opponent doesn't really have anything that we want Echoing Horn into play, so we won't do that. I'm thinking maybe like a Telescopic Sight could be a good card to grab. I think it might be worth it. We might pop that here, because if we do manage to draw into a Fighting Energy, we can put some damage onto that benched Urshifu, which I really, really like. Now, we've also managed to find ourselves another level ball here, so we can grab another Sobble if we want one, put that onto the bench too, and now we've got lots of options for next turn. We've gone from having 0 options to having a ton. What I am going to do, though, is I'm just going to Gale Thrust here. We could have potentially gone for the G-Max Rapid Flow, but I think that would have left us in an awkward position, to say the least. Now, there's 150 damage required to knock out this Urshifu in the active, and if we can somehow manage to push that onto the bench, then we might just be able to sneak ourselves a win. So we'll see what our opponent does. They probably take a knockout on both Sobbles here. That's what I would do. Looks though like they are going to just attack into the two Urshifus, so going straight for game that way. I think this actually means that we win. Let's see here if I can figure this one out. We're going to Drizzile. We are going to go into our deck and search for a trainer card, and I am going to grab... What's that got left? 150. I'm going to grab myself an Escape Rope here, I think. If I use Escape Rope, what I can do is I can force my opponent to switch into a benched Pokemon. That pushes that Urshifu to the bench. We then retreat back into the Urshifu with the Telescopic Sight and G-Max Rapid Flow. It's going to do 150, and there's the game. So we managed to steal that one. Obviously not the best game we've ever seen, but hey, it'll work. So there you have it. Rapid Strike Urshifu is still pretty good. It's definitely got some issues, especially Mew. Mew's a problem, but it's still a good deck and definitely worth pursuing into Brilliant Stars. Hey, listen, if you're over this side, I'll get it right eventually, you are an absolute legend. Thank you very much for being a channel legend. A channel member. I'm not going to re-record this. You're going to deal with it. Down below, there's a join button if you want to join in. You're absolutely welcome to. Don't forget, please subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. And also, over this direction, there's another Rapid Strike Urshifu video. If you haven't got any cards, this is a great way to get into the game. So click onto this one and check out how you can upgrade the Rapid Strike Urshifu League Battle Deck. With that, thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye.